Hey there, I'm Lee Ullman here with some big news from the National Young Farmers Coalition. We're partnering with Heritage Radio Network on a special season of The Farm Report. It's all about what's happening with the Farm Bill and how it impacts farmers and eaters.
I am growing diversified vegetables on land that's been in our family for 150 years.
And so with the pandemic, gentrification, property values going up, we had to sell the land and we lost it.
Join us as we uncover the untold stories behind this massive piece of legislation that shapes how we grow our food, what we eat, and so much more.
The problems we have had, those are things that come from earlier Farm Bill and USDA policy, right? Like Earl Butts, get big or get out.
You know, it's my responsibility to know not only what I'm eating, but then like how that all came to be. And realize like, wow, like this piece of legislation, all this money, like it's technically something that I support as a taxpayer.
While Congress debates the next Farm Bill, this is not just an invitation to listen. It's a call to action. Be part of the conversation. Subscribe to the Farm Report on Heritage Radio Network, wherever you listen to podcasts.
You're listening to Heritage Radio Network. HRN is food and beverage radio supported by you. Learn more at heritageradionetwork.org.
This episode is brought to you by Roberta's, home of Heritage Radio Network for 10 years. Learn more about Roberta's at robertaspizza.com.
So you don't shun the devil with your rock and roll load. Knows that country music's gonna save your soul. The devil runs his groove in them rhythm and blues that Sam. It's gonna get you some in the end.
Welcome back to The Speakeasy. I'm Damon Boelte.
I'm Sother Teague.
And I'm Greg Benson.
My guys.
Back. The boys
hey.
are back.
So I had a fun thing happen to me this weekend. It kind of took me to the, I think we spend a lot of time in our industry kind of thinking about like, new recipes, right? Like where do these things come from? And especially getting really, really obsessed with just like, what's the origin story of like the Manhattan or like the margarita. And I kind of had a fun, I came face to face with the depths of human ingenuity in a kind of amusing way this weekend. I was at House of Wax, which is the bar that's attached to the Alamo Draft House here in Brooklyn.
Right.
Because I enjoy a movie on occasion, as I think I've talked about all the time on this show. And I was hanging out. I was going to kind of a late show, and the only people at the bar were me, the bartender, and his friend, who was several dozen sheets to the wind at this point, but a really hilarious, really entertaining guy. And he was telling me about this drink that he came up with that he called the Hulk Negroni. And he was like getting his guy behind the bar to be like, dude, make this dude a Hulk Negroni. He'll love it. And eventually his buddy behind the bar was like, okay, fine. A Hulk Negroni is a double Boulevardier in a giant like balloon snifter with a mint garnish. And it's just so funny to me because, first of all, a double Boulevardier in a balloon with a mint garnish is a delightful cocktail. And it's also just kind of like this fun thing of just like, I wasn't that asshole who was like, actually, this is a classic cocktail because one, I didn't want to be a jerk, but also because, hey, it's this kind of cool moment of like, certain things just taste good together, and you can just have these like wonderful moments of spontaneous generation where someone's just like, oh my God, I'm a genius. And you shouldn't go on and rain on their parade and tell them that someone already came up with it, because you could do that, or you could just sip your double Boulevardier and have a good night.
Right. What good would it serve to pop that bubble for somebody,
Exactly.
I thought you were going to say it had Hypnotic in it. And I was really excited about that shit.
I was kind of curious where I guess the mint is green, or maybe it just makes you Hulk out. It did.
Giant drink.
It's just giant. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't make me Hulk out. Maybe if I'd had a second one, maybe if I had a grand total of 4 Boulevardiers, I probably would have. But anyway.
Sounds like Memorial Day for me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That man, 3-day weekends always come and go without me noticing them. I'll just be like at a bar on a Monday and be like, why is everyone here? Like, don't you all have I mean, I don't have a regular job, but don't you all?
Yeah, most people do.
I gotta say, it was it kind of snuck up on me because my year's been crazy anyway. But but I got to have people over and cook out for the first time at our place. And like, it's one of those things where I don't know how Sother does this, but like I realized, about 6 hours into it, I was like, man, I've been cooking all day and I haven't had anything to eat.
Yep. That's how it goes. I did the same thing. I had people over for the first time of the season, fired up the grill. And yeah, halfway through, I realized everyone has kind of eaten and I'm just kind of drunk.
Exactly. But there's nothing wrong with that.
Drunk and sweaty because I'm standing over the grill.
Yeah.
Well,
too many Hulk Negronis, man. That was the problem.
Exactly.
That's where you went wrong.
Or not enough.
Yeah, exactly.
They should have given you the energy to see another round of burgers or whatever.
You won't like him when he's hungry.
That's right.
Oh, man. Well, speaking of food and drinks, we've got some awesome people on the show today. We should get into this. I got this book about, I don't know, a month ago or so. I got like a pre-release copy, and I took it with me on my honeymoon and was checking it out. It's like one of 2 books that I took with me. And I was really just like delighted by this book because there's a lot of really fun kind of riffs on classics, but then there's also some really cool ingredients. Like, for instance, there's like, we'll get into it, but there's like the New English, which is like kind of rip on Old English. And it's a Ronzacapa rum, which is like one of my favorites, but with like lime and simple. It's almost like a Chevelle type build, but done with OE. And I'm like, hell yeah, that's fucking amazing. It's been a while since I've had OE because I moved out to the North Bay of California, and we don't have bodegas everywhere like we did back in Brooklyn. But I'm really excited to welcome our guests today. They've been doing some really cool stuff in Southern California, and basically we'll get to the story on this, but we've got our friends in the studio all the way from Southern California. Sorry for the early morning recording session, guys, but
it's good.
But we got spanking news in from Trap Kitchen.
Yo.
Guys, welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us. Thank you for having us.
So let's talk about, this got started because you were cooking, and then like it was a little bit of like a lot of this growth kind of came from pandemic times, right?
Yeah.
Like you were serving out of your house?
Oh, no, this is way before pandemic. This stretched back to 10 years.
As far as like the recent social media goes, and how you and Maxwell Britton, who's also in the studio, kind of how you guys got together, right? But, yeah, but this goes back further than that. So let's get into that.
Yeah, we've been selling food out the house since 2013.
Okay, cool. So a decade.
Oh,
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we got a decade in.
So how'd this start, man? How'd you guys come together?
Well, with the drink book with Maxwell, or just the whole story?
No, just the 2 of you guys. Like, let's go back to the origin story.
Oh, okay. You want to take it back?
Yeah, take it back.
Well, I have a friend from my neighborhood. He's like one of my best friends, and Spank has a friend from his neighborhood, which is close to him. They have cousins, and we all used to like hang out because of the cousins. The cousins basically they family. They're coming to their auntie's house and they're bringing their friends. But mind you, we're from 2 different sides of the tracks. Where in LA, it's gang culture. So you got the Crips and you got the Bloods. Mm-hmm. So me being a part of the Blood side and Spank being part of the Crip side. Normally, that don't even get along. You don't even see that. So for us to even be hanging with each other, that was already unique right there. So that started it off. Yeah. And then from there, we grew a bond. Spank went to culinary art school in Vegas. He came home. We started Trap Kitchen. We started selling food out the house. We didn't have no resources, no money to go do too much. But we had our kitchen in our house, and we had some EBT probably, or a couple of dollars. And we ran to the store. We made a menu, posted it on social media. It's like skyrocketed, and we went from there.
That's pretty incredible. When you're hanging out with the fam and the cousins and all that, was food involved in that? And it's sort of kind of
always.
Yeah, exactly.
Always.
Exactly. That's the thing. Right? It all starts with hanging out with your friends and doing the thing and cooking together. And then, that's great that you went off to culinary school. I went to culinary school myself. And then you came back and really started getting into it. And then, so how long after selling food out the window did the first book come along, Trap Kitchen? What made you sit down and say, you know what, we need to get these recipes. We need to not only get the food into people's hands that can get here and get it. We need to get books into people's hands that maybe don't even live in the state. How did that boil up?
The first book came like 2016. I wrote it like at the end of 15, and it came out in 16 or 17. And we were just doing a lot of appearances on TV, a lot of interviews like we're doing now. We were doing news, and our manager at the time introduced us to Marvis, and we just went from there. We was going back and forth. They flew us to New York, and we had meetings, and we was talking about it, and we finally got it locked in, dialed in, and we went on a promo run. We did what show was that out there in New York? That's not on there.
The Chew.
The Chew. The Chew.
Chew.
Yeah. They had us on the Chew twice behind the first book. Man, it was just new and interesting. Nobody has nobody in our culinary circle had a book out or was even thinking about doing a book. And it's a great marketing tool just for us to keep business going and some to present to our family. This tripped us out, just seeing the book in Barnes & Noble and Target and just all over different platforms, man. I didn't expect that. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna write my family recipes. They came and recorded me word for word, verbatim, and put it in the book. It was so funny. Like, I don't know if you guys seen the first book, but it's like, yeah, we motherfucking Trap Kitchen. Can I curse on here?
Yeah.
Oh,
Not fresh fucking air. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, man, it was something new, man, that we never did. It's like making a mixtape. You know what I'm saying? Like, we two rappers and we made a mixtape and it just blew up. Like, I don't know, man. It was something that I wasn't.
Were you surprised by that? Because it sounds like, like from 2013 to 2017 when the book comes out, that's not like a whole lot of time, but in restaurant years, that's like an eternity,
Yeah, we were surprised, but we kept going over it and over it, and all the recipes in that book came from every recipe was inspired by some time in my childhood life or dishes that I grew up liking. You know what I'm saying? This original is nothing in there like, I don't know. You can't find it nowhere else. You can, but not our version.
Yeah. Was that something that like you guys started cooking together and you started doing this together? Was it like a collaboration of both your families? I mean, because like you had cousins and like you were like, was it like stuff that you riffed on, or is it stuff that's like straight from like your grandma's recipe book? Like, or
most of it was from like family, like barbecues and Easters and holidays.
Or going to a restaurant, eating something good and adding your twist to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. But I mean, like drinks come along with that too, right? So,
oh yeah,
right.
Especially in those holiday parties, man.
Right.
So, I mean, of course, the natural progression, this being, the next book in your volume, which is, by the way, congratulations. It's really beautiful. It's a really cool looking book. And it just makes sense to like come out with a drink book. And, like flipping through here on vacation, I was just like, it took me back a lot to like just some of my like early favorite drinks. It's like you've got one called the Long Beach iced tea, and it's blue. And it's awesome, man. Instead of a Long Island iced tea, it's a Long Beach iced tea, which, by the way, for those of you out there that don't understand Southern California geography, Long Beach is not LA. People from Long Beach will tell you that all damn day. I love Long Beach. It's great. It's a great town. There's some great restaurants and bars in there too. But yeah, it's I tell people I was going there for work. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to LA. And they're like, what part are you going to be in? I'm like, Long Beach. And they're like, it's not LA.
Most definitely don't want to tell somebody from Long Beach that they're from LA.
Yeah, exactly. It's a totally different culture. Like it's like it's far enough away. It's far enough of a drive to where it like definitely doesn't feel like it's not like you're not in Echo Park or whatever. But yeah, the Long Beach iced tea is one of them. There was also like this face. I like the this face because I live in the North Bay. You know,
The Bay.
I've always listened to E40 since I was a kid, and so like I don't know. I'm just flipping through this. Like you said, it was like you're kind of like two rappers that started a mixtape, and the cool thing is a lot of these drinks are actually there's a lot of reference to a lot of songs and a lot of rappers and a lot of different artists. I like that there's one called Napa Valley that's like taking the piss out of the wine industry because I work in Napa. Yeah. So I know exactly like the caption says. But yeah, I mean, like as far in Skywalker, I mean, that's different kind of reference. But yeah, so what was the process of like you started with some of these, you were selling some of these drinks at the restaurants, and then especially during the pandemic, I was reading that says you started selling to-go cocktails because I mean, like shit, we all had to, and not just for us to sell cocktails from our bars and restaurants. It's like people needed them, people needed to drink that. Mm-hmm. So did you start out with just like a few and then kind of build it? Because there's a lot of drinks in here, man.
That's we the pandemic definitely inspired us to curate this book because like you just said, there wasn't nowhere to buy a drink, and we were selling food at this lot out of our trucks. All the food trucks linked up in this one parking lot in a grocery store parking lot, and people used to be out there selling drinks out of their trunk. So we like, wow, like this could be something. We didn't think it was going to be as big as it was, but it actually turned into something like even when the bars opened back up, people still selling drinks. Coming up with their own cocktails, Hennessy margaritas and adioses and
and they put them in a little pouch, rolling around in a cooler with ice, selling their little drinks out of a cooler.
Oh yeah, those like Capri Sun.
Yeah,
type.
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
that's where the real street cocktail come from. Like that's a street cocktail.
Yeah. I remember seeing a lot of that in Brook. We did that at our bar actually for a little bit when it was like that springtime because we were selling some hot cocktails where because it gets cold as hell in New York. So like you're kind of lucky in the fact that Long Beach
like a
always
hot
nice. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But like, for you, it's like the weather's always like really nice down there. So it's like like a cold, refreshing drink in a pouch makes total sense.
Yeah, and they would put them in mason jars too. Put them in mason jars with the candy and the what's the sticky stuff?
The chamoy or
chamoy,
yeah.
Chamoy,
yeah.
It's just the dope concepts of the street cocktails, the way they was being creative and putting them together, packaging them up and labeling them. It was like a good time during the pandemic to make your own street brand of cocktails. So we just came up with some different recipes of our own.
Yeah, I love it. I see in the press release here it says something about it says LA style drinks based on things that were started in New York City. Can you describe what you mean by that when you say so? How are you taking a popular New York City cocktail and making it LA style? What does that mean?
Well, you guys are known for nutcrackers out there.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going. That's kind of where I was going.
Yeah, we've known about the nutcrackers for a long time, even way before the pandemic, and we was like, we need to have our own nutcracker. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be popular out here.
Well, and also it's like it makes more like nutcracker is kind of like there's a kind of a slightly defined. It's a loose recipe, but it's like you can kind of riff on it as much as you want, like depending on what one bodega sells and what the other one doesn't, But like, I feel like in Southern California, there's like so much. You got so much like fresh produce and like access to nice ingredients, and like especially if you've got like a kitchen or three or however many, like you've got the stuff already, and it's like you might as well like use it and like level up, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I like a lot of these names too, because there's like Suburban Slide, Bourban, or Bon rather, and then there's man, I'm just like when our listeners out there get a hold of this book, it's fun because like you're looking through it and it's like there's very little like actual glassware. It's all like to-go containers.
Exactly.
It's like reused Honey Bear squeeze bottles and
red
like milk
cups.
cartons. Yeah, man, it's like it's so
water bottles and
I love it. It's so cool. There's a Pootie Tang again. I love that.
Yeah. So how did I want to kind of turn a little bit of attention towards Maxwell. You're sitting here with us as well. Maxwell, how did you get involved with these guys and get this book off the ground?
Yeah. Well, hey guys, what's up? Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, so I actually did my first cocktail book in 2021 with T-Pain, the recording artist. Can I Mix You a Drink? And yeah, I guess there was definitely, you know, some aspects of that experience that certainly led to, you know, supporting Spankin' News on this project. You know, I think, you know, I've heard you guys reference a lot about, you know, music and places and time and neighborhoods and stuff like that. And that was really a big aspect of that project. And you know, we had sort of formed a relationship during that time. And I've always been a fan of their work. I just think what they're doing is really interesting and totally different and outside of the realm of what we currently see a lot in food and beverage media. And yeah, they had these great ideas, and you know, we're working on these concepts, and I think they just needed somebody to kind of, you know, help them get those recipes over the line. And there was a unique set of boundaries that were really interesting and fun to work with. You know, I think a lot of us here that are, you know, from the bar side of the industry, tend to, you know, be known for really sophisticated and sometimes overly complicated recipes. And, you know, a lot of what this book is about, you know, when you're referencing things like, you know, the Nutcracker or bodega cocktails, if you will, is how do you make something good with things that you can simply buy at the store? So, you know, sort of lending creativity to, you know, somebody who doesn't feel like they, you know, want to, you know, that looks at the aviary cocktail book and doesn't want to invest in a rotovap and gelatin and all that sort of stuff. They want something that tastes good and looks good, and they don't have to go buy a million things to do that. And I always find that's the funnest way to develop recipes. So it was a breeze working with these guys, and they're just fun dudes to hang out with.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and it's like you're not like kind of beholden to like making a bunch of different syrups and stuff. And I mean, it's looking through this book, it's like, okay, yeah, like there's most of the stuff I've got in my house right now, you know? Exactly. Especially the nut, like I work in the brandy industry, so I've got a lot of brandy. And there's a lot of brandy and tequila cocktails, which I freaking love. But yeah, I mean, like there's something to be said about that, like being able to, because think about this, like too, whenever even just like on the cocktail bar side of things, like a lot of times when you go to like, say, a cocktail competition that is completely like wide open, you didn't submit a recipe, you just show up and like whatever they have at the bar is like, you make it work, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I think that's really cool. You know what? We're about halfway through the show. Let's take a quick break and hear from our sponsors. But I also want to I just want to dig into some of these recipes because I kind of can tell which ones Maxwell Britton had an influence on. I'm going to call him out. But we'll be back in just a moment with Spankin' News and Maxwell Britton here on the Speakeasy. Back in a few.
This episode is brought to you by Roberta's, home of Heritage Radio Network for 10 years. Roberta's was founded in Bushwick in 2008 and has become one of the most iconic restaurants in the country. HRN made its home inside of Roberta's in 2009, and together they have become part of the DIY fabric of the neighborhood. Roberta's, the pizza restaurant, is open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week and serves much more than just the famous wood-fired pizzas. Their team dreams up new salads, pastas, and sandwiches on the regular. Roberta's Tiki Bar is alive and well in the back garden, serving up frozen drinks in the summer and hot toddies in the winter. Stop by the bakery and takeout spot next door for fresh breads, sticky buns, and pizzas to go. But Roberta's also extends beyond Bushwick, with multiple locations in New York City and now in Los Angeles. You can also find their frozen pies in grocery stores around the country. The spirit of Roberta's, like Heritage Radio Network, is everywhere. Here's to many more years of pizza-powered radio. Learn more about Roberta's at robertaspizza.com.
And we are back. You're listening to the Speakeasy here on Heritage Radio Network, and today we're talking about the art of street cocktails with Spank News and Maxwell Britton. And before the show, we were leafing through this book a little bit. I don't think we could help ourselves because it's a handsome thing y'all have turned around here. It's really, really cool, and I love looking through, and I love how it's not one thing I was a little worried about when I got this book is that it was going to, take the beautiful simplicity of a nutcracker and be like, put it into a fine crystal coupe and garnish it with a single orchid. And that is definitely not what's happening in here. And I love the really simple presentation. Like we were talking about earlier about how these are things that you could just go down to the corner store and buy if you were so inspired. I almost did last night, but I was sitting around in, just my basketball shorts and no shirt. And I was like, that's an errand for tomorrow, Greg, to deal with. But we were also talking before the break about how we could see a bit of the hand of one of the creators in here. I guess Damon could see some particularly Maxwell Britton-y flavor in a few of these drinks. Max, do you want to speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, totally. Well, Damon, what were some of those ingredients you were calling me out for?
No, I just see sherry in some of these cocktails, and I know that, like, from your time at Maison Premier, like, you're a big sherry guy. But then,
yeah,
there's with good reason that is in this drink because I've never even tried it, but I can tell what it tastes like. After doing this for a long time, it's like you kind of I get that.
Yeah, all these cocktails read very delicious.
Yeah. But again, there's one called Hulk Smash that has both Midori and blue curacao in it. I've never seen a cocktail with Midori and blue curacao in it together. It's probably it's the coolest color. It's like turquoise. And it has coconut syrup in it. So there's some really cool combinations of flavors in here that are, man, they're just like fun and they all seem really refreshing. Even like the Hail Mary. I'm like, damn, I'm looking at this. Do you actually have little Tabasco bottles to Sage Trap Kitchen on them?
No, but we need to get those.
Because that's a good look. But yeah, it's just like thumbing through this. It's like everything looks amazing. And there's a couple of drinks with their like beer cocktails, which I think is really cool. Because, sometimes you need a beer cocktail and, I don't know, like I want to, like I said before the break, like I have most of this stuff at home and I could make most of these drinks right now. I'm out of Midori over the weekend, but I could get that pretty easily. So like, I don't know, I think there's something to be said about accessibility or just like, anytime I write a cocktail article, it's like, you got to make sure that like my mom back in Oklahoma with limited access to ingredients like we have on the coast, like she's going to read that magazine and she's going to be like, hey, I want to make this. So I got to make sure that she's able to do that because, got to make mom proud. There's, like the All City is one of the beer cocktails. So it's Campari and grapefruit juice, which is always delicious. And a little bit of orange flower water, but then IPA. So like kind of a kind of classic way to do Campari is Campari, grapefruit, soda. So this is kind of like a little bit of a riff off that, but like with a little like more depth with the IPA. So I don't know, there's just like cool stuff in here. Everyone should get this book. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I wish I would have tapped into this over the weekend, over Memorial Day weekend when I was having my party, my cookout, because this is like everything here looks like refreshing for a cocktail party or a cookout.
Exactly.
I don't know if you're a father, but you got Father's Day coming up, man. You might want to.
You know what? I got a dog. I got a giant dog that needs to. I'll have that dog celebrate my parenthood.
There you go.
But I think a great Father's Day gift, right, is a cool book to give out.
The book.
And that you're right. That time is coming up. It's on the 19th.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to ask at the brick and mortar, because you guys have a couple of food trucks and a brick and mortar, right?
Yes.
So are these drinks available on the menu at the brick and mortar? Or I don't know, in LA, can you do them on a truck as well? That would be amazing.
No, we can't really sell them on the truck. Maybe if we're doing like private catering or we're doing a pop up with a bar, we're collabing with the bar, then we can introduce them. Which we plan on doing, going on a little promo tour with this book,
nice.
And showcasing a few of these drinks, different spots around the United States. But yeah, I wish we could sell alcohol off the food truck. During the pandemic, we could. We had the icy machines on the pandemic truck, and we would make like daiquiris and
Nice.
Henny Ritas and just all kind of shit, man. We could get away with during the pandemic because, of course, nobody was coming policing us like that, as
Right.
far as like the health department and all that. But
Yeah.
we definitely.
It's only illegal if you get
Go
caught.
ahead.
It's only illegal if you get caught.
It was cool though, man. And then seeing other people coming out with their little drinks, it was really like, it was inspiring. Like, yo, why we need to jump on that shit right now, So.
Well, that's cool. Actually like something I wanted to ask you all about, because there was a bit in the forward to the book that really stuck with me, where you were talking about how, everybody really loved to go cocktails during the pandemic, but the fucked up thing was that you had people who've been doing this for ages and who didn't have, a liquor license to do it. And, all of a sudden, especially now that a lot of places, including New York City, just kind of decided like, we're not going to do to-go cocktails anymore. I sort of wanted to ask you two what clearly you have a really great appreciation for this art form. And I wanted to ask what you sort of thought the future of that was, now that everyone's kind of had that, now that we all have the taste of it in our mouths. I kind of think of like they say about their sharks who like they get a taste of human meat and then they never go back. It's just like we've had a taste of to-go cocktails and street cocktails. So where do you think that's going to go for us from here?
I think it's going to stay around, man. I know a lot of people that's still doing it. They especially if you're having parties out here, and it's kind of the cheaper way to cut the cost for expensive liquor. Coming already with mixed drinks, it makes it easier for people to enjoy just different things that they want to enjoy. I don't know how should I say that. I think it's going to stay around. I mean, it's still around out here in Los Angeles. I don't know about New York, but
I didn't even know they stopped it in New York. That's crazy.
Yeah, we had a whole episode about it where we brought in I think one of our state senators to kind of talk about an effort to turn it around, because it kind of happened all at once, and a few. I don't know if there are any bar owners on this particular podcast who had any feelings about it at the moment. But
no, it lit me up pretty bad. They gave us less than 2 days notice that we could no longer sell to go. We'd already purchased, bottles and caps and labels, and it was a real shit show.
Y'all stuck with it.
Yeah, they snatched the rug off me. Well, again, it's only illegal if you get caught. So I kept doing it.
Just to say that. You got to get rid of that.
I kept doing it for 6 months until I did get caught, and then they were threatening to fine us pretty heavily, and then they gave us to-go cocktails back. But by the time they gave them back, the sort of the need and desire for them had waned. So no one's going to buy a $12 to $15 to-go cocktail from me when now they're canned to-go cocktails at the liquor store for $6. So they made us miss a pretty gigantic chunk of potential revenue. U.S. government.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
I mean, we kind of did the same thing, but it's one of those things where on our corner in Brooklyn, they shut down those streets occasionally. So we have block parties a lot. So we still we didn't like completely lose out on all of our inventory of like to-go cups and, you know, like you said, like bottles and caps and all that stuff. So we still get to use them, but that's a rare kind of situation that we're in for having those block parties.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's like people get used to the thing, and it's like people just wanted to feel like they were part of something, you know, because there's a billion restaurants and bars out there they could go to, and it's like whatever you do to make yours special, that's what keeps people coming back. We had people walking by Grand Army just like dropping a 20 in the tip jar without even buying anything because they just wanted to feel like they were part of it, you know, like,
Yeah.
But you know, the thing is, like, those people are getting older, man. Just saying. And we're gonna be running. Yeah, exactly. We're gonna be running the shit soon enough. So like, we'll bring it back, and then every town will
we're gonna definitely bring it back, man.
Yeah. And then every town will be like New Orleans, you know, like it's all like to-go cocktails everywhere. And yeah, it'll be, I think, wasn't there like some articles about it that they were like, yeah, like crime's down or something like that? Like in New York City, they were like, yeah, everyone's just like walking around with their, everyone's chilling the fuck out.
Y'all can smoke weed now. You got to go drinks.
Yeah.
It's mellow.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'm all for it, you know, like you know, like I said, one day soon we'll be making the rules across the board. So we're already doing it, you know, like how many states have legalized marijuana? 13, 14, maybe more?
Might think more.
I don't know. It should be more than it will be. Yeah. But yeah, and to-go cocktails and marijuana. And then we'll get on the mushroom thing too, because
that's next.
Oh yeah, that's my newest that's my newest pastime right there.
You play with ingredients? Cool. That's your new ingredient?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Well, we'll have you on for the fourth book when that one comes out about that.
Yeah, you got Maxwell for the cocktail book. You should get me for the mushroom book. Sorry, Maxwell. Yeah, but you know, it does suck that like to-go cocktails became like a thing kind of the past for now, but it doesn't mean you can't have fun with like the presentation, which all these cocktails are, you know. It's still keeping that spirit alive, you know. Everyone wants to feel like they're kind of breaking the law, you know, a little bit. So when you're drinking out of like a pouch or like a coffee cup that, you know, like especially there's one in here that is served in a New York City coffee cup, those paper cups. Mm-hmm. Man, I can't tell you how many times it's the Trap Cognac. Dude, I walk around Brooklyn all the time with one of these, and guess what? I haven't had coffee in like almost a decade, but
you got a coffee cup.
You'll see me walking around with one of these pretty often.
Good shit.
But you know, they don't know what's in it. Actually, it was kind of funny because like some of the bars in New York started doing that before the pandemic, and especially around like Williamsburg, there was like some like frozen drink programs, and they were throwing like frozen Irish coffees and these coffee cups, and you got all these hipsters. There's like all of a sudden one day, like these cops are looking around, and there's like every hipster in Williamsburg is drinking a coffee all at the same time. It's like, all right, something's up here.
Something ain't right.
Something ain't right here. So I don't know. It's pretty sweet. But you know, you don't even have to necessarily want to be drinking alcohol to drink alcohol out of a coffee cup. As long as you're breaking the law, that's what feels right.
Yeah, that's the ultimate thing.
You got to get away with it, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, and this book definitely keeps that spirit alive. So I really love it. So what are your favorites out of this book, guys?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask next as well.
Oh man, a favorite? That's crazy.
I mean, I know it's hard.
So many.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, there are a lot of drinks.
I like the Black Mamba. That's one of my favorites, I could say.
I like to funk you up, man. Ginger beer. I don't know why. I just love the taste of ginger and lime juice, man. That's one of my favorite ones right there.
Well, you know, it goes really well with food too. You know, a lot of like ginger and lime cocktails, they go with a lot of different types of food. So
yeah,
that's it's very refreshing. It's a palate cleanser. So
yeah, it's a palate cleanser, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree with that. What about you, Max?
We did it. We actually had like a pre-release barbecue party at Broken Shaker about a month ago, and we were doing tea time with some Jamaican food that Spankin' News made, and that was super fun. It was basically, it's pretty much like a spin on a sweet tea, which I liked a lot. And then you had mentioned Trap Kitchen or Trap Cognac earlier. That one I love because it's like, to me, I feel like that's like the combination of like the airplane challenge combined with the bodega cocktail. Where literally, like, you can only get your ingredients within one block and they all have to be airplane safe. And that's exactly what you can do with the Trap Cognac.
Nice. Yeah, the tea time, for those listeners out there, it's bourbon based and it has sweet tea, honey, and fresh lemon. So kind of like an Arnold Palmer, John Daly kind of thing with the bourbon. That's all. I'm all about that. But they all, I mean, like, just again, flipping through here, they all look so delicious and fun. So yeah, congratulations to you guys on this book. I hope you sell 1 billion of them.
Me too, man. Thank you. Appreciate you.
You know what you should do? You should do it as a set, all 3 books. Like, especially for Father's Day coming up.
Yeah.
And then during the holiday season, just do like a pack of all 3 and like, shit, man, we sell books at my bar. We'll sell them.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to send you a box.
Yeah, all right. And then we'll get to work on those mushroom cocktails for the next one.
For sure, man. I was making Shroom-Lade all weekend.
Nice. Oh, man. Well, guys, this has been really fun talking with you guys. And, there's, to me, I love it when, because, one of the reasons why I brought Sother on the show as a co-host is because he comes from a different perspective, as far as the bar world goes, because he started out as a chef and he went to culinary school.
Yep.
And so when you talk about food and drinks, you kind of have to talk about both. I don't care what time of day it is. If I'm ordering food at a restaurant, like,
you have to have a drink.
Yeah.
You got to have a drink. And they taught us different drinks that pair with food, you know what I'm saying? When we was in culinary school. So yeah, it was real familiar for me.
Yeah.
Once we started doing it.
Yeah.
And like
it creates an environment of conviviality and like celebration, like you can have, obviously you can eat without drinking, but if you're having people over in a group, if you're having as we talked at the top of the show, your family, your cousins, everybody's coming over to commune, folding in a drink is just going to get everybody a little bit more, a little bit more mellow.
It's like an icebreaker.
Exactly. It's lubrication, it gets everybody.
Yeah, it's the icebreaker.
Ready to get it on. Yeah, so I'm looking through the book right now and seeing a lot of like culinary influence. I see, you're using your own house. I'm assuming it's house-made barbecue sauce in the Bloody Mary, and there's other angles in here that are definitely food friendly. As Damon mentioned, some drinks with ginger and lime are always like really food friendly. And man, I want to see. I want to backtrack, right? I don't know about these guys, but I think my book collection here behind me at the house is probably equal 50-50 of drinks and food. So I want to get a hold of your cookbooks as well. And, maybe I'll bang out some of those things I try and do a weekly backyard barbecue at my apartment in Brooklyn. So I'd love to bang out some of your food and some of your drinks and get it together.
Hell yeah, man. We're on the same thing.
So you said you're going to do a bit of a book tour. Are you going to be coming through New York?
For sure. We always come. Every time we put a book out, we come to New York. So yeah, you'll be seeing us. We'll probably be throwing a barbecue together or something.
Yeah, you
set that up.
Any idea of a date right now, or we'll have to check back?
Oh, you got to check back. Maybe mid-summertime.
All right.
Close to the end. Just trying to get it together right now. But yeah, it's a lot of barbecue coming up, so we need to be getting this on the road.
Yeah, I'd love it. Because these drinks definitely speak to, like, I don't know. They speak mostly to, like, I mean, you're from LA, so of course they do. They speak to like this time of year in New York, but this time of year is always this time of year in LA, right?
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
outdoor, hanging out, playing some music,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. That's what our weekend consisted of, man. I just got back from Vegas, man. It was a great time, man. We definitely had cocktails rolling, and I was on the grill, and we just enjoyed it. I'm ready to take this on the road, though. Kind of like pop-up barbecue style with the cocktails, real LA backyard boogie type deals, or you guys be on your rooftop on the terrace, out there in New York.
Yeah, let's get it on. There's plenty of great bars out here that host pop-ups all the time. Basic jumps to mind. They've got a backyard and they do barbecues in their backyard with visiting guests all the time. It'd be a great spot to do it. Maybe Max can hook you up.
Oh man, they could serve the basic bitch there.
Yeah,
exactly.
Basic.
More basic. Yeah.
Let's set it up.
With a hot DJ, man. Don't forget the music.
Of course. Yeah, that's part of the cocktail too, really.
Right.
Yeah, well, I'm very much enjoying flipping through this book. I am going to go and get your previous cookbooks. I'm very interested also. We didn't mention it at all in this episode, but Mackin' Around the World, mac and cheese recipes that are globally inspired. That looks like a fun book to me as well. So
that was fun to make.
Yeah,
and we shot and did it in New York as well.
Nice.
Yeah, really congratulate you guys on some pretty diligent looking and exciting work.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. So yeah, and when you're on that tour, let me know when you're up north.
That's gonna probably be one of the first stops. Our first brick and mortar is in Oakland, downtown Oakland.
Yeah.
That complex. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. Can't wait
to be at you.
Can't wait to hang with you guys in person.
For sure.
Yeah, man. Okay, so that's it for the Speakeasy this week. We're out of time, but I really want to thank you guys for being on the show again. Everyone check out Trap Kitchen. The social handles are at
Trap Kitchen Official _.
And then the website is
trapkitchenpdx.com.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, guys, this has been really fun. Like I said, everyone out there, go out and get this book. It's really fun. It's the official cocktail book of the summer. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think so.
And it's great having you back on the show, Maxwell. Love you, buddy. Miss you. And
appreciate you guys.
Yeah. Hopefully you'll be on the tour with them so we can hang out.
Yeah.
For sure. We bring him Maxwell, man.
You can count on it.
He got to come with us.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks again, guys. That's it for the Speakeasy this week. Check out Heritage Radio Network for more programs like this one. And Greg, don't we have a link for them to check out as well?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we're launching a new members program here at the Speakeasy that we're calling Bottled and Bond. So feel free to follow along there and check out some cool bonus content that we're going to be doing. We're going to be talking with some of our guests for a little bit of extra content. Every month, we're going to be putting out sort of roundup of the folks that we talk to, as well as personalized recipes based on all the folks that we've been talking to this month. And honestly, I'm inspired to start mixing up that. I have one of those old Honey Bear bottles, and I'm like, I gotta come up with a recipe to go in this. After reading through this book, I'm inspired to do something with some of these fun reduce, reuse, recycle things I have lying around my apartment. So check out the link that's in the show notes there to check out Bottled and Bond, and we hope to see you around the members area.
All right. Well, until next week, this is the Speakeasy. Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
So you don't shun the devil with your rock.
The Speakeasy is powered by Simplecast. Thanks for listening to Heritage Radio Network, food and drink radio supported by you. Keep in touch at heritageradionetwork.org/subscribe.